Hey guys, how you doing? Steve Live here. Hey, listen, I got a couple of things I want to talk about. I like to do these vlogs sometimes. I do videos and I get guys that comment on my stuff, and the guys that comment on my stuff, are mechanics across the country, and sometimes I get some good feedback on some of the comments that I get, and sometimes there's a spin, and I want to discuss on what these guys have talked about on the videos. And it's good to you know bounce things off each another and talk about things, especially if it's got a legitimate concern about some stuff. And a couple of these guys watch some of my cleaning condenser videos with a coil cleaner. And I'm a firm believer in coil cleaner on condensing units and evaporators if it's needed. I got a little coil brush. A lot of you guys know I use that coil brush, and sometimes I'll hit the condensing units just with water if they're not that bad. The reason being is if you use a lot of coil cleaner, okay, which coil cleaner is nice, foam in action and everything, but if you hit that condenser with a lot of coil cleaner, now you have to rinse the shit out of that to get the coil cleaner out. So you're going to use that much more water to get the coil cleaner out. And a lot of times, these condenser units are down and dirty in the dirt, and they're in areas where they're in low areas. You got to get all that extra, um, use that extra water to get the coil cleaner out of there, and you get floods a lot of times. A lot of times, all that water is needed, and there's water coming up in the bottom of the condenser, and you get flooded. A lot of the guys that do cleans will know that. You're not always on a hill where it drains out. But a couple of the guys had commented about the coil cleaner, that they actually got sued because they had used the coil cleaner, and then as soon as they left, a dog come over and started licking the coil cleaner, and then the dog ended up dying. There's been a couple of guys that commented like that. So if we're gonna be using this coil cleaner on these units, which it has its spot, it has its time to be used, you have to really be concerned about animals coming along after you that you leave. The guy lets his dog out to take a leak. The dog goes over, starts licking up the flipping water with all the foam in there, and the flipping dog dies. Now you get sued. So it's something we need to think about. We need to discuss, and you need to have that in the back of your head. You're going to use that coil cleaner. You better find out if the guy's got a dog, or you better rinse the shit out of it, or you better, there's things you need to be concerned about. I never thought about that with killing a dog and getting sued over coil cleaner. I've been in a couple of situations where I was at a daycare, and there was carpet there and stuff. I wouldn't use the coil cleaner for the simple reason the kids would be over there crawling around. I wouldn't use it. So, but the whole thing with the dog really made me think, and it deserves a video about it. And just if anything, if it don't just remind a couple of the guys that are out there in the field when they're using a coil cleaner, just to think about that. Is there a dog around? Am I gonna get sued for using this shit? Uh, you know, you never know. So it's just something that I just wanted to bring to the table, and it's a legitimate thing. And I was kind of like, wow, yeah, yeah, that could happen. That could happen to me. And there was a couple of guys that did leave comments that it happened to them, you know. And them guys refuse to use it now. They're just going to use water. Well, I don't blame them. If you go and do your job, and somebody ends up coming behind you and then suing you for a bunch of money, is it really worth using the shit? Probably not. If you're gonna get sued over it, and who knows how much they'll get out of you. So that's just something I wanted to discuss, and it's something that needs to be said. We need to bounce things off each other, and talk about things, and that's what YouTube's a good. That's what YouTube's all about. You know. Like I said before, I'm a firm believer in coil cleaner when it's needed, the foam and coil cleaner but you can if you get a good coil brush and you get a good hose, a lot of times you can rinse that condensing unit, pretty good with a hose. It's not 100%. You know, some of the evaporators and stuff, you really need to have some kind of cleaner on them. You know, as long as you're using the cleaner, just make sure you rinse it out good. Just, you know, just be aware of that. You know, clean is good stuff, but you have to rinse it out also. You don't want to leave that shit hanging around in there. It takes a lot more water to rinse it. So, you know, I know a lot of these evaporators and stuff. You really got to pull them out, and you got to hit them with some kind of coil cleaner, let them soak a little bit to get them clean because they get crusty. You know, some of them internal evaporators are bad. You know, sometimes the condenser units I see on the outside, you know, the condenser units aren't as bad. The evaporators can get, you know, I'm not saying they're not bad, but you can clean them up pretty good with a hose. The ones that I've seen, you know, in my area, you know, I don't know. As far as, you know, I don't have cottonwood up in my area. That's some pretty nasty stuff, that cottonwood. Thank God I don't have that up my way. Most of it's mulch and, you know, dirt and, you know, dry event lint and stuff like that on my way. But, you know, the gardener from hell came along and, you know, shoveled, you know, 4 inches of mulch around the condensing unit. That's what these guys do, you know. And no one raises them up. And a few other guys had some good. Zach has said, you know, whenever he puts a condenser unit in, he puts it up on 3-inch legs, and that's good. That's really good idea to do. Whenever we put condenser units in it, we need to raise them up. You know, put them up on either snow legs or sometimes use them concrete blocks. They're a little, you know, like a little concrete brick, and it's up 2 inches. You know, just get them up out of the ground. So whenever you have to clean them, when you do the cleaning, the water can drain out of them. You guys that do the cleanings, you know that these things are down in dirty in the dirt. It's not good. A lot of times it's slack in a pipe. You know, you could raise them up, put them little bricks under that. That's usually what I try to do is raise the condenser units up a little bit. If they're slack in the pipe, and then so when I'm doing the cleaning, they can drain out. I run into that a couple of times, but I just wanted to bring that, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a discussion going on the good, the bad, and the ugly on some of this stuff. But I was really surprised about that. Them guys getting sued. Yeah, I know if you got like a squirrel cage fan that's got a lot of dust in it and stuff, the cleaner is really needed. The coil cleaner like cleans that stuff up. You get an old squirrel cage fan, it's all full of dust and it's nasty and it's dry. You hit that sucker with the coil cleaner, let that coil cleaner soak a little bit. You know, obviously you pull the motor out, take the motor out, and take the cage all apart and soap it up with a coil cleaner. Let it sit. Then you hit it with the hose. That shit will come right off. It'll be sparkling. Uh, that's coil clean is awesome for that. You know, and we have to clean the squirrel cage fans. You know, people don't have the proper filtration, and they're running it, and you know, if your fan's all full of dust, some of the stuff. So some of the squirrel cage fans I've seen over the years, it's like unbelievable. But you know, in a case like that, you need the cleaner and just rinse it good. You know, just rinse it good and just be aware of the animals in the vicinity. And it's just something that needs to be said, you know. So I just wanted to bring that, and hopefully, you know, somebody got something out of it. Anyway, guys, just you know, thanks for watching the vlog. I just kind of put these in once in a while when I got no videos going on. I'll throw a vlog in there, and it's not really a a teaching video or nothing. It's more or less just discussing the different topics and stuff that it's good to have in my station because I get a lot of these comments and these guys leave comments, and it's kind of like we get a little spin here and there on different stuff, and it's important to talk about different stuff, and hopefully that so it might help somebody. It might save somebody from getting sued, and none of us want that for anybody. We're all out trying to make a living, and we all make mistakes. And the purpose of this video is hopefully help stop someone from making a bad mistake, and having a problem which maybe this video might make you think about it. Should I use that? Is that dog gonna be out there? Can that dog lick up this foam and die? Yeah, can. So we really need to be aware of, other guys walk down that road, and they got into trouble. So it's just something that we need to really think about. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching my videos, and I appreciate the feedback. And that's what this video is about. Feedback that I got. Then I'm kind of doing a spin on it, and letting other raising awareness, letting other people know about what's going on. And thanks for watching my stuff. And I appreciate the feedback and the comments. Like I always say, my station's all about the subs and the comments. That's what makes my station. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.